Well, hello there again. David Taylor or Mr. Pelargonian back with another video on my own channel. I thought I would actually do a footnote to the video that I put out yesterday regarding the tricolour standard that I sort of I in the end disposed of, but there were reasons for that. Primarily because the head, of course, was completely misshapen, very long jointed head. And I've come to a few conclusions about some of the things that I spoke about in the video. And I've had a few comments as well, and I can answer those comments, I think, just with this video. Now, I do these videos unscripted, so I probably should have done this at the end of the actual video that I did yesterday anyway, although I published yesterday. I filmed it on Wednesday. It's Friday oh gosh, what is it today? 28th today, I think. Yes, 28th of April. Now, I'm doing this with my pair of Sophie Dumarest cuttings there. Well, they're not cuttings now, they're growing on quite strongly. But I will almost certainly grow those on as standards. They do grow well. But one thing I think I did learn there was that I should have cut that head back harder in the autumn. I should have taken the head back much harder, because there were one or two side shoots beginning to grow out the other way. The angle of those of the sort of backside, if you like, of that head was not that good. I'll try and include a picture of it now, although I don't like to edit these videos, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to do that. Realistically, though, tricolours will always have a shallower root system. Somebody asked about that. Why was it such a shallow root system? I think, realistically, tricolours and to a slightly lesser extent bicolours will always have a slightly shallower root system to green leaf plants. Although, as I've said, over 2 years, I was really surprised with just how shallow the root system on it was. I was very surprised with that. I thought that certainly would have filled that big pot. The other reasoning, of course, that lesson learned in a way is that with a tricolour, you almost certainly don't need to overpot them. And that was one of the other things. I think I overpotted it. Didn't go to any harm being overpotted, really, because I always keep my plants on the dry side anyway. So it didn't really harm the plant in any way. But obviously that root ball just didn't form. It didn't fill out the pot. Didn't need to, realistically, because it was a tricolour and has the slightly shallower root system. But I'm just surprised that it didn't fill it really over the 2 years. It's probably the reason as well as to why there was a little bit of slow growth, a little bit of sort of dying leaf, because it really, the roots didn't need to be, the roots weren't overpotted, so it wasn't struggling, and realistically, it probably almost certainly didn't need much in the way of watering at all. Not that I was actually overwatering it too much anyway. But yeah, so realistically, I think the roots were really quite loose in it. And it was beginning to grow away. Obviously, tricolours do really slow up during the winter. So yeah, there are a number of reasons why I think it was in the way it was. But the main benefit, though, realistically, was that it never had any mealybug, which for a 2-year-old potted plant that spends a lot of time outside during the summer was a big surprise. I really expected it to be full of mealybug, but there wasn't any whatsoever in this case. I think I've mentioned everything that I was going to say. I've just made a couple of notes for a change. As I say, I normally do my videos very unscripted, but I think realistically, though, if I had known it I'll get that right. If I'd have realised it didn't have mealybug, I would never have probably depotted it. But without doubt, the head was very misshapen, and I think without really any doubt at all as well. I should have cut that head back much harder in the autumn, just to balance off the growth a bit. So I've learned a bit of a lesson there, particularly with a slower growing plant. So that's just it for me for now. I thought I'd do a sort of footnote video for that tricolour video that I put out yesterday on the 27th of April, and answer one or two of the questions that were put through as to why it had such a shallow root system. But some of that almost certainly was because it was a tricolour. I could have put it in a smaller pot, of course, but the problem with putting it in a smaller pot is that it was a very, well, quite a sizable, tall standard. And to put it outside in our sort of UK summers, you would need to almost certainly strap it all down so that it wouldn't blow over. That's one of the problems with having large standards. You really do need a big pot in order to stop them toppling over, because they are, of course, top heavy. That's one of the problems with growing standards. So there we are, that's it. I just thought I'd do a little bit of a footnote there to finish that tricolour scenario off. So it's it from me this time. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.